everyone, and welcome to Stretford Paddock's Red View. This is a new podcast coming to you from myself, Angelina and
Emma Edgar.
So this is going to be a weekly podcast where we discuss a few different things all about United. We'll be getting a few guests in, and this week we're going to hit you with 3 hot topics. We've got a little bit of an interview with Mr. Brian McClair. We've got a Q&A, and we will be coming at you guys with an in defence, which we will explain a little bit later. But first things first, how are you, Emma?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, not too bad. Survived lockdown.
With 4 kids, it's been terrible. I'm not going to lie, and they go back to school next week, which means I go back to work. So I'm just all happy for routine.
Countdown is on.
Countdown is on.
I mean, I've got my nana that I look after, and she's like, I guess, kind of like a small child. So I'm thinking 4 of my nana. That would be pretty stressful. So I feel for you on that one. Yeah. And looking forward to the new season?
I am. Depending on signings, I'm hopeful. I am very hopeful.
You're similar to me in that I like the positivity train. Yeah. I like to try and be as positive as possible rather than just focusing on the negatives. Yeah. And trying to turn the negatives into a positive, which leads us nicely on to our first hot topic. Now, this is about Jaden Sancho. This transfer saga has been going on for about 50 million years, it feels like. I'm so over it. But with recent news on this day of recording, Mr. Lionel Messi doesn't want to be at Barcelona anymore. And I reckon he's coming to Manchester United. Now, if this Jaden Sancho situation does not work out, which is what people seem to be saying, could Messi be a replacement if the Jaden Sancho thing doesn't work out?
I mean, come on, it's Messi. You would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I think every fan would welcome Messi at Manchester United. That's a no-brainer.
But I feel like I would be being really mean to Ronaldo.
Like you'd betraying him.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I would feel bad. I don't know. I'd feel like I'd have to be like, listen, Ronaldo, like, we still love you. You're still amazing, but Messi is here.
He's available.
And is Ronaldo, how's he going to feel? Is he going to feel a type of way towards United now? Like,
yeah,
it does bug me. But at the end of the day, Messi might want to come. Ronaldo doesn't look like he's going anywhere.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So take what you can get. I mean, what was it? I mean, just looking now, this season we've got 31 goals, 26 assists in 44 appearances. Last season, 51 goals and 21 assists in 50 appearances. I like those odds.
I do, yeah.
I like those, well, not odds, but I like the odds of what he could do at United. I like the numbers. He's 33, so I think, you know what? Yeah, he's not completely over the hill in footballing years, but I was thinking, and as much as people will probably hate me for saying this, I don't know if I want him.
Really? Do you know, I've seen a lot on Twitter today saying, oh, he's old, why do we want him? Because it's not the fact that he's old, he's Messi. He's a world-class player. And I think we'd be stupid to not even go in for him.
Yeah, I could see the appeal of us going in for him. Me personally, I could maybe see him going over to Italy. I think people would be buzzing for that Ronaldo-Messi revival, but I feel like we'll be let down because I just feel like they're not the same as... Neither of them are over the hill, but I just feel like we're going to be let down.
Do you think Messi can hack it in the Premier League, though?
This is what I'm thinking. Italy is... people say it's a little bit slower. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. He would get kicked to shit.
Yeah.
And... not being tight, but he is only little as well. Do you know what I mean? But my thought process with Messi is that if it's what attitude is he gonna rock up to Old Trafford with? Is he gonna be humble Messi of, listen, I know I've been playing this certain way for Barcelona for 16 seasons or however long. I'm willing to work with you guys and do what you need me to do. I cannot see Messi doing that. I feel like, and an ego, rightly so, because he is brilliant, but I can see him coming in like, this is me. This is where I want to play. This is the shirt I want. This is how I want to play. I ain't going to be tracking back defending. You can forget that idea. This is what I'm doing. Like it or lump it. And that's the thing with Messi is that you don't get him tracking back. And if you don't get him tracking back, that's one less player in more, when it comes to your defending. That bothers me. And I think what we've seen at Barcelona, it worries me, because you look at Neymar, Suarez and Messi. That, trio was absolutely fantastic. And it makes me feel sad that we probably won't see that at Barcelona now, because I was thinking that would be like the next move. I thought Neymar would have been coming over to Barcelona because it's been talked about for so long. But I feel like that worked really well. And if you're a player that gels with Messi and you fit into that system, perfect, booming, good to go, you're going to have, a great season. But I look at players like Coutinho, I look at, obviously Dembele's been injured a lot, but I look at Griezmann, a fantastic player for his club, and he then goes to Barcelona, and I don't actually know what's happened to him. I'm a bit concerned for Griezmann, to be honest. Like, if you're listening, watching Griezmann, I hope you're okay, because he's a shell of the man he was, and I'm not saying that's because of Messi, it's all Messi's fault, but if you don't fit in with him and how he plays and how he wants to play in that team, and the rest of that team respect him and how he plays, you're not going to have Busquets and Piqué being like, hang on a minute, Messi, we've got Griezmann coming in now, you need to sort yourself out. No, because that's just how it works. They are very old school in that mentality, I think, in that Barcelona team is very, this is how we've been playing, we've been winning stuff, like, Setien coming in with your ideas, all right, mate, whatever. But I just feel like, would he hinder the progression of some of the youth players? Because if you've got him on that right-hand side, is Greenwood going to be affected? I understand maybe Messi, I don't know, if you're looking at the League Cup, he might be all right sitting out, if we played Tranmere Rovers again, so he might be all right sitting out a game like that. But is he honestly going to be happy? He's not that old that he needs to be sitting out a lot of games. So is he going to be all right if Mason Greenwood start in half the games? No, of course he's not. And I just think if Martial doesn't fit in with how Messi works, if Rashford, Fernandes, if these other players that we've already got that are good don't fit in with him, is everything just going to go
I see what
wrong?
You mean, because we've got a very good progression going, especially with us attacking front three. Greenwood, he was on 17 goals last season. He can bypass the 20 goals this season.
I think so.
But City are interested in Messi as well, though. And if it comes to, I've got a feeling that he'll go to City.
Oh, I think that's a done deal. I think, Messi comes with a price, not an actual price. Well, the actual price, obviously, but a metaphorical price as well, shall we say. And Guardiola knows what that price is, and I don't really think he cares.
No.
But again, players like maybe, is Sterling going to be affected? Is Foden going to be affected maybe? But for me, it's probably the most realistic. I mean, I know there's talk about PSG.
Yeah, which is
money-wise.
Yeah.
But is that a step down? Not hating on the French league, but there's not a lot of competition for PSG. All it would be is getting them a Champions League. Because everything else for PSG, we'll win that, and we'll win that, and we'll be all right. It's just the Champions League. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, fantastic. But I agree with you in that I think City seems like the most logical. I mean, I can imagine, like Pep maybe like ringing him now and be like, I'm so sorry, Messi, I rang you by mistake. I was looking for, someone else with them or whatever. Like, but since I'm on the phone, how's it going, mate? Things seem a bit... And that's my other thing. Is Messi actually going to leave? Is he saying this so that president will go?
Yeah.
Is he doing it to cause a storm? Because I can imagine in Barcelona right now, fans are probably in meltdown. I imagine people crying in the street.
Yeah. We've seen stuff on Sky News already.
Exactly.
What the fans have been doing.
So is he actually going to leave?
Talking about like alternatives, if Sancho and Messi doesn't happen, what would be your alternative or signings that we need? Because we need to strengthen the back. We definitely need a left-footed centre back.
Yeah.
A CDM definitely. I'd take Kante, Van de Beek. Why is no one going in for Van de Beek?
You know what? He was in a starting 11 that I've done because number one, Edwin van der Sar, give him a little ring, sort it out. But now, obviously, Koeman's at Barcelona. I can see him kind of poaching him, playing alongside De Jong. But I'm with you on Van der Beek.
He's a defensive player. He's an attacking player. He can play all round that midfield. So he'd be a brilliant signing for us.
Yeah.
Kante, Premier League back-to-back with 2 different teams. The thing is, we've got such a youthful team. We do need that bit of experience. Yeah. So people are saying, what, is he 29? You know, so what if he's 29? I would take him. Have that bit of experience in the CDM role. He's proven a player. Yeah. I would take him as well. And Didi as well.
And I think with the age thing, that's why I was always very pro Koulibaly alongside Maguire, because I spoke to a lot of people that have said he's 29. I think that's his age. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, he's too old. It's like, that is not too old, because if he's, you could still get, I would, at least 5 solid seasons out of him.
There isn't much left for his centre-backs about, not that I can really think of, because, all the other teams have gone in from like Gabriel.
Yeah, missed out.
We missed out on that. So,
I mean, one name that springs to mind, I'm going to have to read it because I will say his name wrong, is Milo Rashika. Now, he plays for Werder Bremen. Again, I may say that wrong. They had a shocking season, but he was pretty special. I think he got like 11 goals, 8 assists. He's 24, so he's not too young to be completely like in the dark with life, but he's also not too old that people are going to start slagging him for being too old and everyone being ageist.
Yeah.
Obviously got experience in the Bundesliga. I think he was in the top 10 players in the Bundesliga to have actually a shot. He's kind of like more of an old school midfielder in that he will get the crosses in. A winger more, but we'll get the crosses in. He will take on defenders. He's not afraid of that. And he is one name that I know in Germany, he's being talked about a lot, and there are a lot of eyes on him. I think Dortmund were actually looking at him to potentially replace Sancho. If he's good enough for Dortmund, he's good enough for us. So that's probably the one name that springs to mind. There's one name that I know, again, it's being rumoured at Barcelona, and I know he plays on the left, but... And, I always think it's such a shame. Memphis Depay.
Yeah.
It always pains me that never worked out.
I know, yeah.
And I know he is more on the left. Maybe you could move Rashford to the right. It's probably just wishful thinking, because I don't really think he would fit in, because, like I say, you would have Rashford on that left-hand side. Yeah. But that's another name that always springs to mind, and I think, what a shame about that if that had only worked out. But... It's hard. It's hard because you don't know who's going to be available. You don't know what's true and what's not. I mean, the Sancho situation I thought was a done deal, signed, sealed, job done. And then the Dortmund guys coming out like, nah, we've not even spoke about it.
Do you know what? I feel like it's still going to happen. But this is what I hate, though. Why can't we get him before the season starts? I know because we've got a few games. I don't want to drop points. Not saying that we will, but I don't want to have that risk. I want to get our signings done before the season, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Chelsea's got their business done early.
Oh, I am so jealous of Chelsea.
I'm so
in the fact that they have just sorted things out and got the job done.
But then now their team can gel. We won't have that.
Know each other, team lunches, icebreakers.
It comes to something when Arsenal are doing business and we are not doing anything.
Oh, Arsenal. Yeah, it's. I completely agree with you. I think it's a tale as old as time, isn't it, with Manchester United messing about. And I mean, you can look at even last season, like, fair dues, maybe Haaland did want to go to Dortmund, but all of that messing about, and then he was in Manchester, like, just on holiday or something, and my emotions were getting mixed up and confused, and I don't like that.
I just don't know why we take so long. Why do we drag it out so much?
You could spend all night talking about, boards and Woodward and owners and all that type of stuff, and of course it comes into play. And we will show you guys an interview that we have done with Brian McClair. He mentioned a director of football. Where has that gone? Where's the director of football? Wasn't it supposed to be Rio Ferdinand? So what's going on?
This is the thing. We need a director of football because it's like we can't concentrate on more than one deal at the moment. But if you see City, Chelsea, they're getting their deals done because they're working on more than one deal. And it's like we're just focusing on Sancho. Well, really, we've got other... players that we need to focus on because we've got the defence situation, we've got a midfield situation, so we need to get it done.
Yeah, I agree. it is just frustrating. I mean, hopefully, maybe by the time this goes out, we will have signed someone, wishful thinking. But it's, but I think Messi would be amazing.
Yeah.
It comes with a price, like we've said. Sancho would be my ideal one. It's difficult to see. I mean, there are a lot of names that go around, a lot of names from teams that are not in the top 5 leagues in Europe, which are, I can't even think of some of the names, escape me, but, you know, players that are young and, oh yeah, they'd be great, but it's like, there's no guarantees with some of these people, and especially when they're playing outside of the top 5 leagues in Europe, although there are still fantastic players from other leagues, like, there's no guarantees, and this is why I was so excited about Sancho, in that we had on paper the proof that this kid could do something special.
Which means this is not an alternative, but we would link to Brooks. He's definitely not an alternative to Sancho.
No.
The only way I would want Brooks is he would be a squad player.
Yeah.
He'd be there to strengthen the bench. He's definitely not one as an alternative to Sancho. I don't think there is an alternative for Sancho in my eyes.
Unless it's Messi, innit?
Unless it's Messi, then
I agree with that. I mean, even when you're looking in the midfield, I mean, it's a shame that the whole Grealish situation, that his price tag was bumped up so high, because he was another one, although he's probably better in more of a Bruno Fernandes role, he would have been another person that would have been great as your squad player, because Fernandes cannot do it all on his own. And I think having somebody like that waiting in the wings would have been special as well. It's transfers, I mean, one person we don't have to worry about transfer-wise, and our second hot topic of this podcast, is Mr. Paul Pogba, and it seems like his agent has finally actually done some good in this world, and has said, it doesn't seem like he's going anywhere, we're keeping him at United, we're going to be discussing new deals. I mean, I will end up going on a rant about this, so I'll let you kick this one off, but Pogba, are we happy?
Oh, I'm so happy. Like, he has, since lockdown, he's come back, he's looked happy, he looks settled. I think he's seeing the vision that Ollie's got, and he's seeing the progression. He's seen Bruno come in. That was a bit of healthy competition for him, I think.
And took the spotlight off him.
Yes, it did. And I feel like he just wants to be a part of it. He wants to be part of the future. And I just love his attitude. I think his attitude has changed since his injury, and he's come back. And I'm loving this. And I can't wait to see Bruno and Pogba full season together, because their link up has been amazing.
Yeah, it will be good to see. I mean, the thing with Pogba is, I've never had a problem with Pogba in that I think he is, you know what, I know a lot of people can dwell on what people do in the personal life. You know, yeah, it's annoying if you see him playing basketball. I know people will argue with me in the comments and say, oh, you know, he wasn't, but he only bounced the ball once. I don't care. Like, I know that it can be frustrating, and when you do see certain things, it can rub you up the wrong way, but it's like, I do try and detach myself from that, and I try and look at what he does on the pitch. And on the pitch, I have got no beef with Pogba. Absolutely fantastic. When he turns it on, absolutely fantastic. And
amazing.
That's, you know, that's why he was so in demand, you know, and I'm really happy that Manchester United were actually able to get that deal done. I think it was the best thing that could have happened when he did leave and go to Juventus. Whatever the issue was with Fergie or whatever, I think he had to go, figure some stuff out, grow a little bit as a player, as a person, and he came back very enthusiastically. Obviously, we've had some injuries. My issue with Pogba was the situation with the agent, in that if I'm employing somebody, and I work for a company and I employ somebody as my assistant or agent or whatever you want to call it, I would not then allow that person to be slagging off my boss in my company.
No.
And that was my only problem, is the way that all of that was handled, in that he should have, you know, I know everyone's got freedom of speech, but if I'm paying you... You
don't do that.
You don't do that. Delete that tweet, sort yourself out, put an apology out. Do you know what I mean?
Because it falls back on Pogba as well, and it makes him look bad, and because he probably doesn't even have those views.
Yeah. And the only other thing that I will forgive and forget, I do hold a grudge. I can be bitter, I'm not going to lie, but I will move on from this. When he said, I'm looking for a new opportunity, that to me was like a shard of glass in my side, because, and this is where my problem was, not what he's saying or what he's doing outside of his footballing life, but Where's your respect for the fans?
Yeah.
And that was my problem, is that it wasn't very respectful to the fans. And, you know, these fans have been watching you since you was a teenager, mate. Like, we have been backing you. Even when he went to Juventus, United fans were still watching him. United fans were still rooting for him. He came back. He was welcomed back with open arms. And he does something that's a bit shady, and it doesn't sit right with me. And that was my only thing. And I've talked about it on the channel before. And like I say, nothing wrong with his actual football. It's just, why do you have to do that? Like, it just
sometimes
upsets me.
Sometimes I feel like the media do take things out of proportion with Pogba.
Yeah.
Pogba can't do anything right in the media.
Oh, God, no.
And like, I think we've seen on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, the day before, him making a little boy cry, a little fan.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he took the time out to talk to him, did a video of him.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't see from the media. We don't see this side of Paul Pogba, who's actually a really nice guy, a really down-to-earth guy that actually does have time for his fans.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see.
It is, you know, it is nice to see that. And I think people don't realise, you know, when they look at, you know, I think he's married, and he's got a little boy himself, hasn't he?
They're pregnant again.
Well, you know what? Congrats to Pogba then. But you know what I mean? Like, he's got that family. He's very, very close to his mother and his brothers. And I found it almost emotional when he won that World Cup and he had his mum on the pitch.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's maybe just how messed up the media is.
Yeah.
You know, you could talk all night about that, you know, especially the fact that he is, you know, a successful black man as well. You could go into it at great length, and it is sickening the way that he is portrayed, the way a lot of footballers and people in the media are portrayed. But I'm glad that maybe you have to let go what the agent did. The thing that he said in the interview that didn't really sit right with me and maybe other people, in that maybe he's learnt from it.
He's grown up.
Because he's grown up as Pogba, because, you know, he's got his agent to put that statement out to say, we're happy. Especially after the agent was like slagging Solskjaer or whatever his beef. I think he had, who was it that said it? Was somebody on Paddock? I can't remember who it was. We were discussing it. He was like a drunk auntie or something that was on Facebook, like half cut, like, yeah, I'm gonna say this, I don't care. Like, you know, he's got him to put out a statement to say, we're good, we're happy, we're staying. I mean, a part of me does think, who would have had him?
Yeah.
Because they messed up last season. I mean, Real Madrid, fund-wise, maybe not the greatest. Their midfield, they've got Odegaard coming back. They have got, obviously, Cruz. Modric getting on a little bit, but they seem to have sorted out their midfield. Maybe back to Juventus. Maybe a PSG. I don't think Bayern necessarily need him at the moment. Barcelona, well, God knows what's going on with Barcelona. But, you know, maybe they've realised that he's not in demand as much, not because he's a bad player, but because there's people have got their act together whilst he's been at United. Thought we can't get him at the minute, so let's regroup and reorganise. And a lot of people can't afford him.
No,
maybe. I
agree. Another hot topic has been Lukaku. People are saying, should we have sold him?
Yeah.
Do we regret it?
No.
The thing is, for me, I don't regret selling Lukaku. At the time, he didn't want to be here. The thing is, with Ollie, he didn't fit in the team.
Yeah.
With Mourinho liked to play the long ball across and just straight to Lukaku. So he scores a goal. Where Ollie likes his number 9 a bit deeper. So if you see with Martial, he's a bit deeper. His hold-up play is good. So he brings other players into play. Yeah. So he brings Greenwood, he brings Rashford into play, which is why they're scoring a lot more goals, because that's how Ollie wants to play. Yeah. Where Lukaku didn't fit in that, because he was so used to, you know, everyone just winging the ball across to him, and he just
hoping for the best.
Exactly. Yeah. And Lukaku, he can't play how Ollie wants. He can't hold the ball up great. His first touch is not great. So it just didn't work out. I don't hate the guy. I think he's done very well. You know, 34 goals last season.
Either 33, 34 in 50 games, I think. Yeah. Oh, I mean, obviously, respect to the guy and what he's done in the Europa League as well. It's a shame they didn't win it. I was rooting for them. Obviously, if we'd have got to the final, I wouldn't have been rooting for them. But yeah, I've definitely wanted them to beat Sevilla.
I mean, I've seen a lot of hate when he scored that own goal, which I felt so sorry for him, because no matter what you think of a player, for someone to score an own goal in the final is gut-wrenching. He must have felt so bad.
Yeah.
And the things that I seen on Twitter, I was just like, no, don't do that. Like, scoring an own goal in a final, he must have been so upset.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing with Lukaku is, it like exactly what you say, really, Emma, that he just didn't fit in.
No.
And that's not a problem. At the end of the day, he still did score a very good number of goals. And that is why we struggled last season, because I don't think people realised how many goals he actually made up. And everyone's like, hang on a minute, why are we not scoring all these goals? Oh, yeah, remember that Lukaku guy? He actually did score some goals.
Yeah.
It was just other parts of his game that he was lacking. But I think you just have to, again, like you say, I don't have a problem with Lukaku, and I'm kind of like, he's like an ex, like, I'm happy you're happy, you do your thing, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean. Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Players come to teams
wrong time,
and it just doesn't work out. Doesn't mean they're a bad player, because, you know, we've seen him, he's progressed, he's done very, very well, he's looking in good shape as well.
Yeah.
So it just, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's the risk you take when you get players in. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and I'd wish him all the best.
Yeah, it's like I think the fitness thing he didn't, and that's not. I'm not necessarily saying that Lukaku was sat at home like stuffing his face with cheese and onion crisps or something like that. I don't know what the situation was with that. That'd be something backroom staff would know.
I heard that he had an actual dietary problem. And when he went to Inter Milan, they found out that the foods he was eating, he couldn't absorb properly. Don't quote me that that's true, but it's something that I read.
But that's what I mean. I mean, you can't really hold the whole, like, he didn't look fit enough at United against him, because, like you say, it could be 1,000,001 different things. But I think I felt sorry for him sometimes, because it looked like he was carrying such a burden on his back. The amount of pressure he must have been under. Because at the time, Martial wasn't really doing bits. Sanchez, do I even need to say anything? Rashford, still not 100% consistent. So there was a lot of, you know, the Pogba drama that was going on. There was a lot
going on,
yeah, and there was a lot on his shoulders. And I think the reason why he is being successful at Inter Milan, I think obviously Serie A is a completely different kind of league. It is not as physical, as aggressive.
It's a lot slower.
Yeah, and I think Lautaro Martinez being next to him has been his saving grace, because I think you see him now, he looks a lot more refreshed, and I think he's playing differently, because I think he feels like there's somebody else to share the burden here. You know, Lautaro Martinez, massive star, obviously linked with Barcelona, and I do think that has helped him a little bit, because he's got someone, you know, that will put an arm around him and help him. Obviously, he does have Sanchez there. I mean, I don't really keep an eye on Sanchez. I think he's played a few times for them. Might have been injured. You know, but even still, Ashley Young, you know, there's one or two friendly faces. Yeah. Having Martinez next to him will have been a massive help. And that has, whatever reason, that has helped him to flourish, I think. And it's also down to managers. Not saying Mourinho was a bad manager. We could sit all day and debate about Mourinho. Obviously not going to say that Solskjaer is a bad manager, because I don't think he is. But you've got somebody like Conte in your corner, who is, you know, such a decorated manager in Italian football, that's maybe took him under his wing and helped him, and maybe that's what he needed. There's so many different variables on it.
I think he plays better for Conte, because he's just done what Lukaku likes to do.
Yeah, and I think, that's the thing. He's been given the ability to kind of play how he wants to play.
Yeah,
and like you say, you know, it's happened for him. Congratulations to him, and wish him all the best. Really good for Lukaku, but I don't think. I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody said to you, oh, would you have him? Yeah, I'm sure maybe there would be the odd game where you'd think, oh, it'd be good to see how Lukaku would play in this game. But I think with all the exciting stuff going on at the moment for United, you're not sat there thinking, oh my God, if only we had Lukaku. Oh, but it wasn't like, we're not in that phase. No. Like, we've moved on from Lukaku, so whatever. Like, we don't need him. So we've got Rashford and Martial and Greenwood and maybe Sancho and maybe Messi. So whatever, Lukaku, wish you the best. But that's our hot topics pretty much done. But let us know, guys, let us know in the comments. Drop us a message on Twitter, etc., about what you thought about Messi, Sancho, Pogba, Lukaku, all of it. Yeah, get in touch and drop us a comment.
And our first guest up is former Manchester United player Brian McClair. Hi Brian, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I am very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm going to kick this off with a question that is on all of our minds. Messi to Manchester United. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, there's first thing is that Lionel Messi appears to have handed in a transfer request. There's been grumblings for a long time that he has been dissatisfied at Barcelona, and now there's a situation where potentially he will be leaving. Although I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't come to fruition and he actually stayed. You'd like to think that Manchester United would be one of those clubs that he would consider going to. He has a great knowledge of the English Premier League. I know that he enjoys it. And I read something interesting today that his kids go to a British school. So that may be an indication of what he's thinking about. You would like to think, yes, that Manchester United would be able to make an offer that was attractive to him, both with regards to financial remuneration and how he would see the next few years of his career developing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you think that we could trump City and get him? Because obviously people are talking about the Guardiola relationship as well.
I think that there is. I think you would say that City may have an advantage in that there are a number of connections between Manchester City and Messi that may hold sway. However, I would always think that any player, no matter the magnitude, including one who's been as brilliant as Messi for a long time, would seriously consider the red half of Manchester. Or the red more than half of Manchester.
Nice, I like that one.
And just moving on, you were the first ever player since George Best to score over 20 league goals, scoring and assisting in some amazing games. You know, you scored the winner at Anfield. You had that assist with Eric Cantona with that amazing chip at Sunderland. You know, what has been your favourite goal in memory at Manchester United?
It's good of you to say that I've been involved in lots of goals and lots of assists. I think when you get to the age that I am now, which is very old,
no,
you look at you're biased, Angelina. You look at things, and I kind of look at all the events in my career, good, bad, and indifferent, with sort of equal affection, because they all had an influence on the end product, whether that be in that one game or over a season or over the whole career that I had. And I like to consider them as I look at them, and when people ask me this question, as all my little children, all those goals and all those assists, and I would hate to choose one of them over another. So I look at them all with equal respect and equal admiration and pleasure that I was part of so many memorable things, certainly for me, and maybe one or two other people too.
Obviously, scoring that number of goals, is there anybody that you look at in the Manchester United lineup and think they can achieve that next season? Who's the one person that that stands out to you as being the person that will get the massive lump of the goals?
Harry Kane.
Do you know something we don't? Is this an exclusive that Harry Kane's coming to Manchester United?
I think that the goals that Manchester United have scored since Bruno Fernandes has come has been very good, very consistent. However, I still think that you can get better. So between the three forward players and Fernandes, they have had a particularly fruitful haul since since January. But I still think that you can bring in other players to improve that and to increase the competition that you need within big clubs to go on to be successful. Successful and for me is actually winning something. You know, or certainly getting back to challenging for the Premier League, which Manchester United have been able to do for decades now, but not quite recently.
You touched on Bruno there. We've seen Bruno come in halfway through the season. He made a massive impact to the team. Do you see any similarities between him and when Eric Cantona first joined Manchester United?
I think he's had a big influence on the team, yes. In order to have the influence that Eric Cantona had in galvanising, you would always look at the success that the teams at the Manchester United teams that Cantona played in. Not only the games that they won, the goals that he scored, but the championships, the Premier Leagues, the FA Cups, and I think that's, yes, he's done very well. But remember, he's only been here for half a season. He's had a big influence. Look forward to that continuing, and perhaps even being. I think he is a player who's, when you talk about goals and assists, has quite a remarkable statistic in that it's a goal or an assist every game that he's played in for a number of seasons. So I think that would be very, very encouraging for Manchester United fans looking forward to the restart in September.
I think obviously you've worked with quite a few of the current first team players, and some of them you will know personally through coaching, etc. Who was your standout player last season, and who are you looking at for the new season as kind of the star man? Well,
if you're talking about younger players, the players who have come through the academy, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great when there's that continuation of that link to going back all the way to 1945, which isn't 1948. It's actually a year, Angelina, you know, and it's even before I was born, if you can believe that. But the youth product has been on the team sheet at Manchester United. So you can see that with the very much continued success with the likes of Greenwood, who has just been selected in the full England squad. But I'm probably more pleased for the progress that Brandon Williams has made, in that he is very much a product of what you like about the academy, and that he is very coachable. He listens. He works hard. He behaves himself. He's a Manchester lad. Comes from Harper, and I'm so pleased that, and even big Man United family, that he has done as well as he has, and it looks to me that he could go on, given the chance or chances to be the regular left back for Manchester United and potentially for the national team.
Talking about Brandon Williams, he's done very well last season. He's got that passion. He's got a bit of aggression about him. Has he always been that kind of player in the youth team?
I think when you come and you brought up in Harper, you have to have some sort of aggression.
I didn't want to say anything, but you've got a point.
I think what you see very much from Brandon is that he gives 100% at all times, and I think what you're just going to have to, as a supporter, is to accept that Brandon will miss some games because of that passion. But I would say that it's a very positive thing to have. But he will get booked, and he may occasionally get sent off because of his commitment. But I think that he can't put that in a player that comes from within, and Brandon's got those characteristics and character in abundance.
Speaking of players maybe in the bad books, I'm going to ask you about a certain Mr. Harry Maguire. Obviously, things are transpiring about what has gone down in Mykonos. Won't get into that part of it too much, the legal side of it, because I am not a lawyer and I don't want to get sued. But the way that it's been dealt with, obviously, he's been dropped from the England squad. I was just curious to know what you think. How do you think Fergie would have handled this? I mean, people are calling for him to lose the captain's armband. Some people I've even seen online are saying that we should get rid of him altogether. How do you think Fergie would have handled it? Do you think he would have taken the captain's armband off him?
Well, we'll have to see what happens when the legal case is fully fully finished. There's an appeal. As you say, we can't really comment on what different legal systems in different countries might view particular incidents or alleged incidents. I think the disappointing thing for everybody, and I think probably will imagine be for the management, is that you've got your captain who is in football terms a senior player in the sense of how many games he's played and his age, and to get himself involved in situations because according to reports there was a little bit of a problem the night before. But my kind of thing is that, well, I don't understand as being in that position, United captain, England national, 27 years of age, that you go to somewhere like that. I mean, I don't know why you can't just take your family, fiance and the kids away to somewhere quiet and you can have your own kind of little parties and situations without any problems of any grief whatsoever. So very disappointing to put himself in that position over several days.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope that whatever happens, that the truth is revealed, whatever that may be. I know there's a few disputes, but obviously people have said that Maguire, people are saying they should get rid of him, but looking at his defensive partner, there's also been a lot of discussion about if we should have another defender. Transfers in general, is there anybody, minus maybe Messi or Harry Kane, that you've given me a bit of an inkling about? Is there anybody who's at the top of your transfer list, basically?
Well, as I said earlier on, Angelina, mine would be a goal scorer, and I think that a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. I think the one that I would say, as I said, would be Tottenham striker Harry Kane. I think that all big teams sign at least one player every year. That's top manager time, at least one player. I just hope that I think one of the things that's been frustrating for a lot of people is how long it takes for transfers to get done. My concern would be if they are very much interested in Lionel Messi, that doesn't distract from other targets and get other things tied up. I'd like to see, that being improved. There's been very little mention of a director of football or a person in that position for a long, long time. I think
completely disappeared, didn't it?
I know it did, yeah.
I think the powers that be have just decided to duck that one with the intention of not changing anything and continue to do the same transfer policy the last couple of years. If that continues, then I've got a fear that we will fail when in the transfer market and another window will go by without the number of players that we need.
What is your prediction for Manchester United this season?
Well, I want Manchester to win something. I'm still annoyed and frustrated about the FA Cup semi-final. You've got four teams in the FA Cup semi-final, and we're the only team that doesn't put out the supposed strongest side, and we lose. And out of the four teams in the semi-final, arguably, just talking about it before or looking at it before, the weakest team go on to win the FA Cup. Now,
we definitely could have beaten Arsenal in that final.
You want to win things as a player and be involved in winning things as a player. That's more disappointing than losing in the semi-final to City or the semi-final in the Europa League.
Agreed.
Not just you don't get medals for finishing in the top 4.
You certainly do not. I mean, do you think that we will finish in the top 4?
Oh, you do. Sorry, you do. You do. You get a medal for finishing first in the top 4.
Oh yeah. Do you get a loser's medal sometimes for in certain situations? I guess finals. Some people get losers medals, I guess, but we're not going to get any losers medals.
No.
Yeah, we're going to be great.
But you don't know that it might be your best chance of being in a final. I mean, you looking at young players who haven't won something. We've just mentioned Brandon Williams. Even if it's a medal, it might be the only chance you get. You don't know. Yeah. For me, that you should go. So trading, I wouldn't trade. You should have the courage to try and to win all games at that particular point. You know, there had been a break. Players were rested. A lot of players were able to recover and be available. Nearly every single player was available to the management. And I don't buy into this thing about they look leggy, they look tired, or whatever else it is. Big games, big players want to play in all of them. And that was the only game out of a number of games that they changed the team, and only because they were successful in finishing the top 4, but missed a great chance for me.
Yeah.
Would you like to see us win the FA Cup next season?
I'd like to win, that League Cup.
Just win something.
I want them to win, because I know how much joy and pleasure they can give you and memories. That's what it's about. It's about making memories in football for football players at the highest level. Where do
you see us in the league? 3rd again, or?
If you get the right players in, you want to be challenging, get closer to whoever it is going to be in the top 1 or 2. At the moment, you'd have to say that it's still going to be Liverpool and Manchester City. But Chelsea have invested and invested pretty well.
Chelsea's got their business done early, haven't they?
Yeah. No messing about at Stamford Bridge. But yes, well, thank you very much for joining us, Chucky. Lovely to see you, as always. And hopefully next time you're in Manchester, we can get you down to the studio.
You're not allowed out.
Yeah, after lockdown, obviously, I'm not looking at, you crossing illegal borders and stuff.
Until you young people start behaving, you're not going to get out.
Right, well, I will put a word out to the young people of Manchester. Start behaving. No more illegal raves. So that when things are all right, you can then come down to Manchester and we'll get you in the studio. Is that fair?
That's very nice of you. Very kind of you. I appreciate that.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was good talking to Brian, wasn't it?
I know. You cannot hate Chucky. He's just such a great guy, isn't he? But next up, we have got our Q&A.
Our Q&As.
So something was put out on the community tab of Stretford Paddock's YouTube to send us your questions. Well, surprise, because the questions were for us. So do you want to kick us off?
I will. We've got a question from Spencer Israel. Do you think bringing back Henderson for this season is a good idea?
I'm not mad at that idea. I think obviously Sergio Romero, there's rumours that he might be going. He's had a cushy time of it. Do you know what I mean? Number 1 goalkeeper for his country, rocking up for the Europa League and a few league games, cashing his cheque, chilling. But if he's annoyed that obviously De Gea was then put back in at the Europa League, I can understand. If he wants, to be honest, if Romero was to move on, as much as I think he is a fantastic second goalkeeper, it would probably make life easier for us with this whole goalkeeping drama. Yeah. I think, I'm happy with Henderson. With Henderson being in. Me personally, I'm sure we can get into this deeper maybe on another podcast. Yeah. But De Gea, I'm happy with him starting. and I'm confident that Dean Henderson would be very good second in command. You can have him maybe in those Champions League group stages, because as great as Henderson is, not taking anything from him, I think it was Kasper Schmeichel actually who put it really well in that he said, like, you still need that experience. Like, he's not ready yet. He still needs a couple of seasons.
Is he ready to be Manchester United's number one keeper?
And
it's very different.
Spotlight.
It's very different from Sheffield.
Yeah, very different. Okay, so next question. This is from Sam Holt. So, going into the new season, what are your expectations and what would you consider to be progression on last season? Anything? No, I'm joking.
Well, it depends on signings for me. If we don't make any signings, which I hope we do,
we'll be sad.
Yeah. It's again for top 3, top 4. We won't get any further than that with the team that we've got because we haven't got any squad depth. If we get signings, I expect us to be challenging for, second. Maybe first, being optimistic.
Why not?
Maybe first, being optimistic. Maybe get a trophy.
Yeah.
Get a trophy. Late stages of the Champions League. Something like that.
Yeah. You're next, asking me.
This is from Pam John. What do we do if we don't make any signings and then have a poor Christmas like we did last year? Do we stand by Ollie?
I don't want to think about this, Pam. I don't want to think about this happening because it makes me very sad. But, okay, so what do we do if we don't make any signings then have a poor Christmas? So, about standing by Ollie. I think the signings thing, Ollie is only to blame for a percentage of that. He's not the person knocking on doors, negotiating.
Yeah.
We all know he's responsible for that type of stuff. And again, that can be saved for another day because we'll be here all night. I'm always for standing by a manager.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what happens in those games. If we have a poor run, I'd really like to think that we don't have a poor run. But if we do, why is that? Is it because of that we just simply don't have the players? Is it going to be because of very bad injuries? If it's down to something that Ollie's doing wrong, of course we're going to have to look at it, and I'm sure all the Pochettino fans are going to be like, oh, get him in, like whatever. But yeah, it's very hard to say if you would back him or not because it depends on the situation. I think if we've not made signings, obviously we do have, I don't know what's going to happen with the Ighalo situation, but obviously we have got our front three, we have got Fernandes. So regarding making chances and getting goals, obviously Pogba as well. I'm confident in that, but we will be exposed. And I guess you have to kind of think how much more progression can we do from last season? So we're probably going to be exposed in similar areas. But yeah, that's a tough one. I just think we've got to make a signing.
For me, I don't think it would be Ollie's fault if we do have a poor run up to Christmas. I think it is down to signings, and that is not on Ollie. I think Ollie wants the signings, so I don't think we can blame Ollie, and we can't. The Ollie outers cannot be going for Ollie. I don't think,
unless there is something that he's actually doing
if
wrong managerially.
If he's making some silly substitutions, or he's making.
That's one thing Ollie needs to sort out for me. Them 93rd minute.
83rd
subs.
minutes of subs, and you're bringing Lingard on. What? Don't do that.
Don't do it, Ollie. You heard it here first. Don't think about it. Okay, so next question. This is from Mr. J. Edwards. How long do you think United can keep hold of their top players if we continue to follow this trend of not backing the managers after they have secured Champions League football and seeming resistant to push further than third or fourth spot? United is a big club and players want trophies and fans want trophies, Mr. J. Edwards. We want them as well.
This is a valid point, because once we secure Champions League football, it is like the manager doesn't get backed. We don't get signings. It's like, oh no, this team can take us through. This team cannot take us through to the Champions League. We can't get to the final with this team that we've got. So we definitely need to make signings.
Can we just clip that though, just in case we do, because that would be pretty special.
Yeah.
A little outtake. But no, I'm with you. I don't think.
How are we going to hold on to players? We've just seen Pogba sign. Like I said earlier, I think he's got the vision that Ollie's got. I think he wants to be part of the future. So I think he will stay because he wants to be part of this.
Yeah.
I can't say with the other players, but definitely for Pogba, I think with him signing is a massive, massive positive for us.
Yeah.
And I think that he can see where Ollie wants to go. And the thing is, Ollie's laid a foundation. And we just need to build on that foundation now. And the board do need to back him for this.
Yeah, I agree. Is it you asking me now?
Yeah, this is from, sorry, I apologise if I say your name wrong. It's from Bilal Akhtar. Who do you think the next academy player will be who becomes a regular starter at United?
Now, I've kind of got two ideas here. So there's one player that I think will be coming up soon. Well, maybe not soon because he's only 17. And I'm not going to lie, it is mainly for his name, because he's called Hannibal. And I just think that's just pretty special. Obviously, French player. He's obviously 17, but been training with the under-23s. I think he was on the bench at Tranmere. I may be wrong on that, but I think he was. So that fills me with a bit of hope. I mean, I think last season he got 6 assists.
Wow.
1 goal, and I think he got about 7 yellow cards, which I like the sound of that, feisty.
Wow.
So yeah, I think he's got a lot of potential, would be a good development. But regarding who's going to actually be in the team, I would like to see James Garner. Obviously, he's 19, more of that defensive midfielder. So obviously, Matic cannot.
He hasn't got the legs for it for every game.
No, he's definitely not. I mean, him and Mata are kind of these players that. Do you think Mata's going to hang up his boots, or do you think he's going to do another season? I'm not too sure what his contract is, so I could be talking rubbish here, but
I don't know. I think Mata's more for the dressing room, I think.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking. Is he going to make that step back, or do you think he maybe does another season where he does what he's doing now, which he seems to be happy with, in the coming on for a half or coming on for 20 minutes? The thing is, he
does make a difference when he comes on. Sometimes we need that bit of experience from him. So, you know, do you know what? I think I'd like him to stay another season.
Yeah. But I think, like you say, with Matic, he's not got the legs anymore. He is kind of like playing for a half, maybe a full 90 minutes a week, if that, maybe every other week, depending. Whereas James Garner, I think he's had 18 appearances last season, the season we've just done. I think 9 goals and 1 assist, which for a defensive midfielder, I'm pretty happy with that as a young lad. I think he has already had experience in Europa League, already had experience in the cup games. He would probably be my player that I would like to see moving forward.
What do you think about Menge, the centre-back? Because, you know, we do have that centre-back problem, and if we don't sign a centre-back, do you think, what is he, 18? Think he can come in? You know, when we seen him come on, I didn't realise that he did not look 18. He is built as anything, and he looked good. Yeah. He looked a class player. Do you see him coming in?
I mean, yeah, you could 100%. I would be very nervous to see him coming in regularly in the next season.
It has to be like drip fed, I think, into the team.
Because I would hate for him for that pressure to be put on his shoulders alongside Maguire.
Yeah.
I would hate for, you know, it could just end up having a ripple effect onto De Gea, etc.
Right, yeah.
You know, people are coming at him. I would like to see him. Maybe see what happens this season, but I would like to see him maybe on loan at a decent Premier League. So maybe somewhere even like a Burnley or something, where you're going to get a lot of experience. You're going to get knocked a bit. Maybe I'm just being silly in that I think Burnley's a bit more like, I don't know, like a rugged team. But I think, you know, a team like that where you're going to experience it all, you're going to experience, you know, Burnley's a very kind of middle of the table team, where you're going to experience some decent little wins, you're going to experience some tough lows, you're going to have to dig deep, all that type of experience that you could get from something like that. I would like to see him go on loan and then see where we're at. But yeah, definitely not ruling it out. For me, it would be great to have you know, like somebody coming up from the academy in that kind of position.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. But I think that's all our Q&A questions done. Whether it's in the community tab, on Twitter, wherever, every week we will be putting some questions out. So make sure you get involved, and you may be one of the lucky ones that has your question answered by the two of us. Okay, so finally, our last segment of this podcast is called In Defence. Now, this is something that we're going to be doing weekly, because we're positive people.
We are very positive.
We're on the positivity train, and it's just looking at a player to do with Manchester United and, coming to the defence a little bit, discussing something and just, you know, seeing what our opinions are on it. And I think the only person that we could be talking about this week is Harry Maguire. Obviously, as I've said before, we ain't getting sued. So we are not going to delve into, the legal side of it, shall we say. But all we know is that allegedly Maguire, obviously he's been arrested in Mykonos. People are saying that it's something to do with his sister as to why a brawl has kind of broken out. There's alleged bribery. He's appealing the situation as he's been found guilty. He's got his legal team on it. Obviously, with England, he has been dropped. People are calling for him to basically be driven out of Manchester with pitchforks and torches. And I think that's a bit much, I'll be honest.
I do. I think, do you know what? Scrolling through Twitter is so toxic, and seeing that he should be stripped of his captaincy. But Ollie has come out today and saying that he's backing him, or like he's still got his captaincy for now anyway. So it's nice to see that Ollie is backing him.
As in, if he's appealing it and he seems pretty adamant that something's gone down, something shady has gone down, and he was not, because allegedly was it that, the police had attacked him as well and said, like, this is the end of your career. And apparently, allegedly there were fans kind of taunting him and stuff like that. And I was talking to some members of my family who aren't necessarily, massive football fans, but follow it a little bit, and just said, about people in the media, like, if you go on these holidays, how difficult it must be, because people do try and taunt you. People do try and get a reaction out of you.
Yeah.
And I don't think people always think about that, because, there are hot-headed people, and if someone says something, especially if his sister has been involved, I mean, I know my brother... Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't think he'd be very happy if I had allegedly been injected with something or stabbed.
Imagine if his sister, got injected, stabbed, whatever happened, and Maguire did nothing to protect his sister. Imagine the uproar of him. It'd be, you're a coward, you didn't do anything to protect your family.
Yeah. All you care about is your paycheck at United.
You got to remember, he is human. Like the rest of us, we go out, we have a drink. He's having a good time. It's been a tough year, a tough season.
Yeah.
So he's let loose a bit. Maybe he drank a bit too much, said some stupid things maybe. We don't know. But the fact is, he did stick up for his sister. And I quite like that side of him. It's nice to see that different side of him.
Yeah, that is, I mean, you could argue, obviously, as I'm sure you've seen in our Chocky interview, that you could say, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, which I can understand in that, do what other people do, as in get yourself a nice little villa somewhere, have something a little bit more secluded and protect yourself, because it is the way of the world now that unfortunately you do have to take things like that into consideration. You do have to protect yourself, you do have to protect your family, and, maybe moving forward, Maguire will be, I don't know, contacting some villa real estate people, I don't know, but
yeah.
But I mean, all of that aside, whether it was alleged bribery, whatever, I think the response for me, until it's all said and done and we have a final kind of decision on what has happened and it's all cleared, I think the way people are reacting is a little bit much. I mean, do you agree with the England captaincy? Well, not the captaincy, sorry, that he's taken from the team. That'll probably come as well. But.
Do you know what? I seen it because he was announced in the squad, and then he was taken out the squad, and I was just like, I don't know. I see why he's done it, because obviously he was found guilty. Yeah. So he was initially just...
FA need to tick a box.
They were just like, we'll take him out. Until this is resolved, we'll just take him out of the situation, which I do understand. So I do get that. But from a club where Ollie has backed him, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. Because what I don't get with these fans is, their hero, most of them, is Eric Cantona, like mine. Everyone backed him. Sir Alex Films backed him, and the fans backed him. And then he had his ban, and he came back, and then he was captain, and he did very well that season. And he is classed as a hero, a legend at the club. So some of these tweets that I see about Maguire, I'm like, well, hang on. How can you be okay for Cantona to do something, but not okay for Maguire? I know their situations are very, very different, but it's the same scenario, if you know what I mean. So I just feel...
I know what you mean. I think England, Southgate, FA, whoever's behind it, they have to maybe tick a box and cover the backs, because if it does come out that maybe he is 100% guilty, then they're going to face backlash. I think regarding Manchester United, and I've seen on Twitter people saying like, oh, if United keep him at the club, they're going to be condoning this kind of behaviour. All right, if it comes out that he's backed his sister who's allegedly been stabbed with something, like, what kind of behaviour is that? Sticking up for your family? I mean, we have to wait and see, I guess. But I just think people ordering him to be out of the club. I mean, number one, do you realise how much money we spent on him? Like, we can't get rid of him.
No.
Are you crazy? Like, you know, recession times and that with this, you know, with the coronavirus and this pandemic, we cannot be just getting rid of him for 2 bob or something. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So, but this is the thing, is that, and it's where do you draw the line with footballers, what they do on the pitch, what they do off the pitch? Because Harry Maguire, I think, had a very good season.
Yeah, no, he did. And he played every single game.
I mean, there was something that came out that, was it back in January, he was playing with some kind of hip injury and he was taking injections just to get through the games. Like, that is the kind of guy I want as my captain.
This is what I was saying. You know, everyone is saying, well, you haven't seen Pogba, he's home with his family. You know, De Gea, Lindelof is away with his family. I get that, you know, and Harry did put himself in a situation going to a place where, you know, it is party central with a lot of Brits. But I feel like he just had to just maybe let off some steam.
And it's, you know, things happen, wrong place, wrong time, and it's...
And you know what you like when you're drunk. You do say some things that you regret.
I mean, I do find it kind of comical if he was stood there like, do you know who I am? I'm Manchester United's captain. Like, I run this shit. Like, it would be funny.
The thing is, I'm getting tongue-tied now. Sorry, but for me, he doesn't look like a person that would do that. And if you see on Twitter, all his friends have come out and said, like, it's just unlike him.
Quite a lot of people have come out and said, have come out in his support, which I think is nice. I mean, other people in the public eye, like you say, his friends and stuff. But yeah, I just feel like we've got to wait and see. But I think there have been worse crimes in football that I won't go into, because again, I could be here all day, where people haven't had the appropriate strong reaction that they should have. And for everybody to just jump on this bandwagon of hate when we don't even know what's gone on, I just think it's a little bit rash. I mean, for me, until we know the extent of it, but even then, you know, I think he's been a great captain. I think I was looking and thinking who could be the captain, really, and I think he's slotted really well into it. And you see him in those volatile situations in football games. He does seem very level-headed. Like, Q jokes about his head and his forehead, I'm sure. But, like, you know, he does seem pretty level-headed, and he diffuses situations, and he's not afraid to, you know, like, tell people where they need to be and blah, 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 and he encourages people. And he is, for me, he has been a very good captain. So I would be very sad to see, you know, if they did take it off him. I think regarding selling him and getting rid of him, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I cannot see that happening. Like, it's money at the end of the day. And and I think, like you say, it's nice that Ollie has backed him.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, so, you know, leave Harry Maguire alone until we've figured out all the facts and, you know, got to a resolution on it. I think everybody needs to just calm themselves. You know what? The people that were probably saying, like, oh, get rid of him, he shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that, and all the people hating on him about England, probably City fans, let's be honest. Let's be honest with that. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But that's our in defence of Harry Maguire. Basically, just leave him alone and let's wait and see what happens. But that concludes our first podcast.
Wow.
Very good. Have you enjoyed it?
I have enjoyed it.
Me too. Next week, I will not be here, as I will be over in Germany. But we shall be continuing this podcast whichever way we have to, via video call or whatever. But yeah, thank you to everybody who has been watching or listening. Make sure you get involved on Twitter, in the YouTube comments. Let us know your thoughts on everything we've been discussing. Obviously, Messi, Pogba, Lukaku, Sancho. We could go on and on and on because we've talked that much. Yeah, don't forget to give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Share this with all your friends and family and United fans. And yeah, thank you to everybody. Regarding me, my name's Angelina Kelly. Not many people with that name. If you want to find me on social media, I'm sure if you're that bothered, you'll figure it out. Obviously, I am over on One Football doing content, so you can also find me there. Emma, where can everyone find you?
I actually have my own YouTube channel. It's called That United Family, and you can find me on Twitter, XEmmaX88.
Brilliant. As I said, thank you, everybody, and we will see you guys soon.